That is not my mother. That is the title of today's story. So this story happened about 11 years ago. I was a senior in high school at the time, but it is the single most mind-boggling thing I have ever experienced. It's also important to note that this happened mid-December. I'm from Iowa, and the winters here get cold. Like if you get stuck outside, you will die kind of cold. That plus the snowfall makes everything dead silent. You can hear anything and everything inside the house and even immediately outside of it. Well, me and my best friend, we were hanging out in my family's walkout basement, just kind of having a boring winter night playing video games. We were the only ones home. The reason it was just us is because my mom went straight from work to a bar to grab a few drinks with some coworkers. So me and my friend thought it would be a good idea to break into the family wine cellar and live a little. As we were sitting there opening up the first bottle of wine, I hear the door to the garage open and slam shut. I immediately go, oh shit, and start looking for a place to hide the bottle. My friend says, I thought you said your mom was supposed to be out all night. She was, I replied. Then I heard a few heavy stomps. I hear my mother yell out, Meows and Boo, anyone home? I yell back up the stairs, yep, just hanging out in the basement. I hear a few more steps move from the garage door toward the stairs, then she yells out again. Can you come help me with something? I need you up here. I reply back while frantically trying to find a good place to hide the wine bottle. Yep, just give me a minute. Then there was silence for about 20 seconds. Anyone down there with you? She yelled back in a more concerned and serious tone, in a voice that was slightly off from my mother's. This was the first thing that told me something wasn't right. Our family never cared if anyone was over, as our house was a very open house to all family and friends. And the voice, it was just wrong. It sounded like my mother, but there was something missing that I couldn't put my finger on. Weirded out, I replied back, just Colton. After I yelled back to her, I found a good place to hide the wine bottle and began walking up the stairs to the next level. Now, as I'm walking up the stairs, I couldn't help but feel the overbearing silence in the house, and the slight electric twinge that something wasn't right. When I got to the top of the steps, I look over to where the garage door is, and also over to the kitchen, and it's black, pitch black. All the lights were off, and there was no moonlight shining through any of the windows. I walked over to the kitchen, yelling out, Mom, where are you? There was no reply, just silence and darkness. I feel the electric twitch turn into full needles, my adrenaline kicking in full force. I have to get out of here as fast as possible. My mother was not home. I ran back down the stairs, grabbing my coat along the way. What's wrong? Colton says. My mom's not home, I replied as fast as I could, looking for my truck keys. What do you mean? You were just talking to her. I could see the confusion in his face. There's no one home. We need to leave now. I took a few steps toward the back door that opens to the yard, and I could see my dog shaking on the couch and my cat growling behind it. I couldn't leave them. I just knew that if I left, something would happen. Are we leaving? Colton said, still confused as hell. No, I can't leave them alone. Something is really off. I'm gonna call my mom and figure this out. I pulled out my phone and my mom picked up immediately. Meows and Boos, what's going on? She answered. Mom, weren't you just home? I heard you yelling from the second level, but when I went to go check, you weren't there, he said frantically, hoping that she was just playing a joke. No, I'm just leaving the bar. I wasn't feeling very well. Are you okay? What do you mean you heard me? I fill her in on the whole story. She rushes home. Colton and I stayed in the basement with the animals until she got home. But before she did, you could just hear something upstairs. Not walking or sitting on things, just a pressure in the air, like a black hole that was slowly moving from one room to the next. And the word that I would instinctively describe it as is hungry. When she got home, you could feel the thing leave just as fast as it came, like an overbearing predatory presence that had just flown away. We still never have figured out what the hell was going on, but this is just one of those many unbelievable things that has happened to us. This is one thing I am happy to have a witness to. My mother has passed away now, and I've moved to Arizona, but whenever I go back to Iowa and I see Colton, he still gets creeped out about what happened. I will never truly know what happened, and I know that whatever had my mother's voice that night, it was evil and it was hungry. Alrighty guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that story, and just remember, if you ever hear somebody calling your name and you think something is off, it just might be. So, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Okay, so for the last week or so, I've been watching all these scary stories of things people have gone through and really can't explain. So I'm going to tell you my story, and let me know what you think. So it was around 2011, I was about 22 years old, and I was dating this girl who lived a couple towns over, and she was having to come see me a lot of the time because, at the moment, I didn't have a ride. So she was having to drive an hour to see me and an hour back every single day, and she was currently living with her parents along with her daughter, and her parents decided, instead of her having to do all the traveling, that they would help me purchase a vehicle. So they gave me $1,200 and told me to go on the hunt. Now at the time, I was working at the local Sonic drive-thru as a car hop and part-time cook, pretty much working double shifts all the time. And I took off that morning to go and find me a vehicle, and I ended up finding one I thought would suit me perfect. And because it got great gas mileage and everything else, it was a 2001 Mazda Millennia. So I had one of my friends come look at it with me, and you know, he's more of a mechanic type, so he kind of knew what he was looking at to look the car over and make sure that it was suitable for me to spend this money on. So in the end, I ended up purchasing the car. Everything worked out good. I had to be at work at 5 that evening. I worked 5 to 11, and I ended up getting tax, title, and license and all of that stuff, and insurance and everything before I went to work. So I drove it straight to work that evening, telling everybody how I finally got me a car. It's got a sunroof. You know, the radio's kind of janky, but hey, it's mine. So I worked my entire shift, super excited because I finally got a vehicle. I wasn't going to have to bum rides anymore. I wasn't going to have to worry about how I got back and forth to see her, see my son, or get to work. I was in bliss for a split second. I was going to get off work and drive to her house and show her this new vehicle that I just bought, and show her parents that I didn't just blow the money. So we closed up that night, and I drove home, and my roommate at the time, I was telling him about the car I got and everything, and he was excited for me and all, but I stayed home till about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and decided to slowly, take this back way to my ex-girlfriend's house. And it's through this long area, this long strip of woods where you usually don't get good cell phone service. So I'm just kind of slowly making my way through. It's middle of the night. I'm going about 35 or so on this back road, got the windows down, got the music turned up, got the sunroof open, and I'm just super excited. So I'm driving down this long strip of woods and empty highway into the abyss of darkness that's ahead of me, and I see these headlights in my rearview mirror coming up behind me. And he gets right up on me, no big deal, and he slowly starts to pass me. And as he does, I kind of, slow down a little bit to let him safely pass, and he looks out of his passenger window and looks down into my window, and it seemed like time had stopped. He looked at me and goes, "Your car's on fire." Now, I don't remember this guy's face. I don't even really remember the truck. I just remember it was kind of an older model, but I remember his voice as clear as day. Like I said, we were going about 35 or 40 miles an hour at least, and there was wind and everything, and I could hear him as clear as crystal. And he ends up passing me by and kept on going. I looked down, and I didn't see anything with the gauges or anything like that looked suspicious, but I thought about it. I had just filled this gas tank up as soon as I bought the car, so it had a full tank. And if he saw fire from the back, that means there's fire back by the gas. And I just slammed on the brakes. I threw the e-brake on. I had a backpack and a skateboard in the passenger seat, and I threw it out of the passenger window, jumped out of the car, and took off running. Literally, just as I got about 5 feet in front of the car, I hear boom, a gigantic explosion. When the explosion happened, I was so close to it, maybe 15, 20 feet away, that I felt the percussion off my back. I turn around, and the whole car is engulfed in flames. And I just dropped to my knees and started crying. I pull out my cell phone. I look down. I've got 2 bars. And like I said, this is a place where you never have signal. is so far back in the woods. But I had just enough signal to call the fire department and call my girlfriend and all of that. Overall, I had the car less than 15 hours. I took this picture as the fire department showed up, and I got to watch them tow my car away. Let me know what you think on what that could have been that night.
So I thought someone broke into my apartment last night and I nearly had a heart attack. I don't know if I've ever been this scared. I need to tell you what happened. It's 12:30 at night. I'm sitting on my couch in my living room. I'm scrolling on my phone and I have my TV on. And all of a sudden, the way that like my place is set up is like my couch is against a wall. So I do have rooms behind me. Like there, I have my filming room and like a second bathroom that like is my main bathroom behind me. And all of a sudden coming from one of the rooms behind me, I hear a lady talking on max volume. I mean, louder than my TV. And when I say a lady talking, like it does kind of sound like a video. Like it doesn't sound like a person's really there. It sounds like a video's playing. But remind you, all the lights are off in my fucking house. It's 12:30 at night and I'm most definitely not playing a video. So I had took a shower like an hour or so before, like really late, and I had my speaker on and I was like, oh, maybe my YouTube video I was playing started playing on the speaker. So I remember sitting on my couch in the living room. Remind you, there's still like some creepy fucking lady talking max volume coming from behind me. It's 12:30 at night. I'm sitting in the dark. I open the YouTube app in like a horror movie because I'm like, oh, I'm going to pause the video that's suddenly like connected back to the speaker. I open the YouTube app. There's no fucking video playing. So now I'm like, like I actually feel like I was in a horror movie. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm the owner of this house. Like I have to go investigate. Like little Omi needs to go check out who the fuck is in my crib watching a video. Like who is this lady? And when I say max volume, I mean as loud as a device could be played. It is so fucking loud. So I like eerily, I'm like slowly walking and I notice like my bathroom, it doesn't seem, I could see my speaker and when it's on, there's a blue light. Bitch, the blue light's not on. So I'm like, oh my God. So I like turn the corner and I like look into my beauty room and it's, remind you, it's pitch black in my beauty room. And 6 hours prior, at 6 p.m., I was vacuuming. So I had music playing on my MacBook that was sitting on my vanity in my beauty room, okay? And when I was, it was pretty loud, like so I was vacuuming. When I turn into the beauty room, everything's dark in my beauty room. The laptop, like my MacBook, I always shut the fucking screen. And this is your PSA to shut your fucking computer screens because those shits are always on and watching. I look at my MacBook, okay, the screen is black. Like it's not turned on the computer. But I could just tell that the sounds are coming from my Mac. Like it's coming from my Mac. But remind you, I had played this YouTube video 6 hours earlier. So like if the computer was gonna like start randomly playing the video, why did you wait till 12:30 at night? Imagine if I actually was fucking asleep, dead ass asleep. I would have actually called the feds. The feds would have been at my door. Like, no, there is no fucking way. So I fucking slammed my computer lid. Like, I haven't even opened it yet. Like, that shit's haunted. Like, I'm like, I need to go buy a new Mac or something. I slammed my fucking computer lid. And then I'm an overthinker and batshit insane. So I'm like, oh my God, is somebody in my place? But I locked this hoe down like Fort Knox. Like, you cannot get in here. Any entryway into my apartment is 100% barricaded. Like, mama don't fucking play. I'm like, if somebody's in my place, they've been in my place. They've been hiding out somewhere in my house. I'm thinking like, how did somebody start this video? Then I'm paranoid. So again, I was not gonna go to bed. I was like, I honestly wanted a midnight snack. I was gonna scroll. I was watching Gilmore Girls that I just started. I was ready to be up for a while. I said, oh, I'm going to bed. I'm taking this as a sign from the universe to go to sleep. So I do the thing where I have to turn off all the lights. Like again, I'm the owner of this house. Like, I gotta do the closing shift, even though it's now fucking haunted over here. Like I don't know what is happening. That is so spooky. So I like do the thing where you turn off all the lights and you like run into your room and you close the door because you think like the boogeyman's gonna get you. Yeah, that was me last night. But best believe before I closed the lights, because I'm so paranoid. I'm still fucking paranoid. Is something in this house? I literally was like, if you're in my house, I will fuck you up. I will fuck you up. I'm yelling in my place like truly like a sociopath. Like truly like a screws loose or something in the head. And then I shut my bedroom door so quick, locked that bitch. And did I sleep peacefully? Absolutely not. Remind you, when all this was happening, I texted my sister at 12:30 because I was too scared. And she's on the same time zone as me in Arizona. I text her, are you up? She just texted me now and she's like, no, I wasn't. I just told her to run down. She goes, girl, I'd be scared. Scared. Oh my God. See, I never second piece. I'm just sitting there trying to do my little nighttime phone scrolling. They said, girl, let's activate your fucking fight or flight. I'm telling you right now, that is so spooky. Actually shut your computer lid. Because what do you mean YouTube from 6 hours ago on a laptop that was on a black screen, like it wasn't on, if it was in sleep mode, starts playing. Scared the fuck out of me. Like I have no other. It was the spookiest lady's voice. I swear it was like a YouTube ad that was playing or something. It was not the music I was listening to. I was listening to Hannah Montana as it vacuumed, okay? Holy shit. But yeah, that's what the fuck I dealt with about, it's 8 in the morning. So fucking 7 hours ago. Jesus Christ. And then I felt a little better because I have an upstairs neighbor, and I swear me and this girl are on the same fucking schedule. We wake up at the same time, we go to bed at the same time, and around the same time I heard her flush her toilet. Like I could hear the flushing of a toilet. And I was like, you know what? She sometimes pisses me off because she's be stomping away and really fucking loud some days, but that just gave me grace because if there was an intruder, I know she'd hear me bellow. So she probably thought last night, like, who the fuck is in this girl's house? Because after I was yelling, like, if you're in my place, get out, I will F you up. That's when she flushed her toilet. She's probably like, damn, girl, what's going on? But nobody in my house. My MacBook's haunted or something, and I'm going to be fucking scared to sleep tonight. Yay.
Can we show them the older homestead?
Yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
They went to both.
Yeah.
I haven't walked in 2 weeks. I woke up 2 weeks ago and I couldn't walk. I immediately called the doctor. And then next I called my best friend Tori. If you know me, you know I'm a professional ghost hunter and Tori's my partner. And Tori brought it up first. There's a possibility that me not being able to walk was more spiritual than physical. After all, we had just gotten back from the most haunted ship in the entire world. While we were at that ship, we were threatened by a demonic entity. I went to the doctor and got an x-ray of my leg. The x-ray came back completely normal. So then we did an x-ray on my foot, and that also came back with nothing. But I was feeling this pain in my leg where it felt like it was gonna snap and it was just unexplainable. So they put me on an antibiotic. That night, my friend Tori suggested that I take a cleansing bath and say a prayer. So I decided to try anything at that point. I mean, wouldn't you if you couldn't walk? So I took a bath while I saged and said a prayer. And for the first time in 5 days, the swelling went down. But it didn't end there. Then I started waking up in the middle of the night, unable to breathe. The first night it happened, we called an ambulance. The second night it happened is when I started to really get worried. I called my doctor and he said he didn't know why it was happening. It seemed like I was waking up in the middle of a panic attack. So we decided to confront the demon that was causing them.
Imagine something demonic telling you to go and alive your husband. What's up, cousins? Yes, I am back with another story time. So just like always, let's not waste no time and let's get into it. Okay, so for this story time, we're gonna call her Brenda. We're gonna call her husband Mark. So Brenda says she is a Christian woman, the type that talked and prayed to God every day. So Brenda and Mark got married on September 25th, 1999. She was 19 and he was 21. No, not too long after, they got their first place together on Stafford Road in Salisbury, North Carolina. Now, she did give me the address to mention because she said this address she will never forget. Now, things took a turn pretty quickly in that house. She said only after 2 months of living there, that's when things started happening. Now, Brenda and Mark could be out having the best time of their lives, just kicking it, having dinner, having lunch, any and everything they're doing when they're outside of the house. Now, as soon as they get back home, they are consistently bickering and arguing with each other for no apparent reason. She said every night when she go lie down in their bedroom, she always finds herself looking at the doorway. She said she just knew she was going to look up one day and see something standing there, but she never did. But she always felt like something was watching them from that doorway. So as time goes by, one particular night, she has to wake herself up to go use the bathroom. So as she's using the bathroom, she noticed there's a pair of scissors sitting on the bathroom counter, and she don't know why, doesn't even know why or how they even got there. As she looks at these scissors, she said the most angriest feeling and emotion came across her body. And she heard something say to her to go, her husband. That she was so scared and so afraid, all she can do was cry and scream. As she was screaming, her husband did wake up to come comfort her. As he's comforting her, he's trying to figure out what's wrong. So she started telling him all the things she's been experiencing for the past 2 months. After she told him about what she was experiencing, he then tells her the things that he was experiencing, and that also he felt like for the past 2 months that something was watching. They had never told each other this. Now, they did used to wonder why every time they come home, their emotion would just change to rage and anger, and as soon as they would leave the house, everything would go back to normal as far as their feelings and emotions towards each other. So some time passes until we get to this particular day. Mark wakes up, he gets ready for work, he's out the door. So now Brenda is at home alone. She's also getting ready for work until some things start happening. She has this feeling of being watched, and now she's scared. So she says she goes to the refrigerator to grab something out the fridge, and she heard something. She said not only did she hear it with her ears, she also heard it within her body, and it was screaming for her to get out of that house. Brenda did exactly just that. She ran out the house screaming and crying and just terrified because of what she just experienced. She said so finally her and Mark reached out to like some family members on both of their side of the families to try to figure out what's going on and what do they need to do. She said they didn't want to tell their pastor yet. However, they didn't get any resolution from their friends. That was going to be the next step. One of their friends did end up reaching back out to see if they can help them. Now he did come over, and he also brought a bottle of holy oil. So he did go through the house, and he took the holy oil and put it on his fingers and was dabbing everything in the house and doing crosses in the doorways and just praying through the house as he's using this holy oil. Brenda said now from that day, it did feel like everything had just stopped because they didn't feel the feeling of being scared. They no longer had the angry emotions when they walked into the house. It seemed like everything just went back to normal. She said now the only reason they would get mad at each other or argue with each other if it was a valid reason for them to have an argument with one another. They was happy, everything went away. Until about 6 months down the line, she was pregnant. Now, unfortunately, at the beginning of her second trimester, she did go into labor, and ultimately she did end up losing their baby girl. Her name was Jasmine. She said when they got home from the hospital that night, something was not right. She said their friends and other people would just call it like her being emotional, but she know that was not the case. So they're both upset with each other and they're arguing with each other, and she's just crying uncontrollably. So they ended up just sitting down on the kitchen floor right beside the refrigerator, and she just could not stop crying. So as he's trying to comfort her, he starts crying as well. She said Mark's cries suddenly stopped, and it looked like he was in a trance. And all he kept saying was, "I could see her." He kept telling her that he can see their daughter, that she was about 3 years old, she had olive skin, she was chubby, and she had beautiful black curls. Now, she did say that was kind of the last paranormal or any type of weird stuff that they had going on in the house. That was their last encounter. Now, as a year go by, she did end up having her little boy, and at the beginning of 2023, she did have another little girl. Her baby girl name is Haven. Now, she said once they came home from the hospital and as Haven grew up, she did look identical to what her husband saw previously a few years ago. Although she said her husband is both pale, she don't know where she got the skin color from, but she was exactly how he described. She says she doesn't know what to think of it, and she do not believe that this was just a coincidence about what he saw and what their current daughter looks like. Now, she said as time goes by, the house still was on her mind, so she did try to do some research on the house to see if anyone was unalive there or to find out what type of property was it buried on. What type of property was it built on? She said if anyone has any ideas on how to find out what happened in that house, she would love to know. Although she does not live there anymore, and her husband and her are not currently married at the time, but she does want to know if anyone can find out any research to see what exactly went on at that house or that property. The address is 130 Jeff Stafford Road, Trailer Park Lot 7 in Salisbury, North Carolina. So if we got any detectives out here to go look that up, let's go ahead and get that and see what the hell happened in that house. But y'all, that is the end of her story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, y'all, be nice and positive in the comments. If you guys have any stories that you want to submit to me, please DM them to me, or you can submit it to the email that's in my bio. I strongly suggest for you to send it to the email. And when you're submitting your stories, y'all, if you don't want to type everything, y'all, you can literally use voice to text. But anyway, you can DM me or send it to my email. Until the next story, enjoy this one.
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen.
Did the window
Sean.
break?
I need to tell you guys this ghost story. The Man in the Hat. The user starts off by writing that when they were about 7 years old, they remember living in a house where various odd things would happen. But one specific moment really sticks out to them. This specific time, they encountered someone. Someone they would come to know as the Man in the Hat. The user says that this one night, they remember they were sleeping in their parents' bedroom. See, like most kids, they were afraid of the dark. And so they would sleep with their parents most nights around this age. This night was no different. So they were in their parents' bedroom, and their parents actually had like a kid's pull-out couch of sorts so that they could sleep in when they were sleeping in their parents' bedroom. Honestly, way nicer setup than I ever had. When I was a kid, if I ever found myself sleeping in my parents' bedroom, I would either have like the tiniest sliver of space next to my mom with the threat of me falling off the bed at any moment, or I would have to bring my blankets and a pillow and sleep on the floor, which admittedly wasn't very comfortable. But I think the sense of feeling protected made it a lot more comfortable than it actually was. If my daughter ever finds herself in my bed, she always seems like she's having the greatest night of sleep of her life, okay? Meanwhile, I'm over here. She is a squirmy wormy. I know I'm not sleeping well that night. Anyway, so the user is laying on their pull-out bed, and their couch slash bed is situated by the doorway, and their parents have left the hallway light on for them. So it just adds an extra level of protection for them. And they're just kind of laying there and staring up at the ceiling, waiting to get tired when finally the sleepiness overcomes them. And they're closing their eyes and they're getting ready to finally fall asleep in hopes that they get at least a few hours of comfortable, uninterrupted rest. But as they're drifting off to sleep, the user all of a sudden gets this overwhelming urge to get up, feel as if something is beckoning them, telling them to open their eyes and get out of bed. And as much as the user wanted to ignore this strange feeling that has suddenly overcome them, they're still a curious child, so they find themselves opening their eyes and sitting up. And they're scanning the darkness of the room, expecting to see something lurking there. But as their eyes are trailing across the bedroom, they see nothing stirring or slinking or slithering. Naturally, their eyes go to where they find comfort, and they find themselves looking over to the light in the hallway. And that's when they see him. In the doorway of their parents' bedroom stood a man. The user says that they could make out that he was wearing a suit and a hat, and he felt wrong, and he looked gray all over. And they said they remember him standing there, unmoving, and they wanted to peel their eyes away, but at the same time, that childlike curiosity kept them roving their eyes over what was standing in the doorway. They wanted to cover every detail of this strange man, and one in particular really stood out to them. When they got to the man's face, it just wasn't there. After seeing that emptiness, the user found themselves screaming and waking their parents up. And in what I consider a huge win in any ghost story, the parents saw him too. The user's dad jumped out of bed and ran to the door and slammed it in this man's face. He quickly acquired a baseball bat, threw the door back open, and began to search the house. But despite searching every single corner of this home, he was unable to locate the man, and nothing had been disturbed as if to point to maybe an intruder. Nothing was different. The man was just there, and then he wasn't. The user goes on to say that he never personally saw the man in the hat again, but that as he grew up and into an adult, he would hear stories of people having very similar experiences to him. A little girl would recount this, or people seeing the same man in a hospital, or right before one of their loved ones passed away. And in one shocking evening, while the user was sitting down and watching Netflix's very popular Haunting of Hill House, he found himself unexpectedly terrified after seeing the man in the hat in the show. Now, when I was doing my research on the man in the hat, I actually came across a lot of evidence that shows that this entity, or whatever it is very consistent, and there are a lot of reports of seeing the man in the hat. He tends to be seen in doorways or at the end of hallways or at the foot of your bed. And the man in the hat is actually one of the most commonly reported entities. Most of the time, the people who see him are almost always children, and often while the children are awake and in the presence of other people, so he's not shy at all. Now, it's said that doorways are actually viewed as liminal space, which means that they are spaces that bring together the paranormal and spiritual world. That's where spirits tend to linger, or it's easier for them to get over to the physical realm. And a few cultures have different explanations of the man in the hat, and in European folklore, he is known as the Shadow Gentleman or the Death Herald, often known to show up when death, illness, or a tragedy is imminent, and mainly being seen in hospitals or sick rooms or homes. Another explanation could be some sort of sleep-related phenomena, such as sleep paralysis. But the only issue with this particular story and sleep paralysis is that the user was able to get up and scream and wake his parents up, who also saw the man in the hat.